Here's a little video, still talking about mortgages, and I say still because I've done a couple videos on mortgages today. But there's just so many different intricacies when we're talking about home loans and what we really need to be aware of when we're thinking about this big purchase. So this video is going to focus on that first month payment and thinking about the interest that you're paying. So if you've ever looked at what's called an amortization table, so it's the breakdown of the life of your mortgage and every payment you make, how much goes to interest and how much goes to the reduction of the loan. In the beginning of your mortgage, you're going to pay a lot more interest. And then as it goes, because you're going to owe less, you pay less interest. Okay, so we're going to do two examples. First one here. Jessie buys a $140,000 house at 3.5% interest for 20 years. Her monthly payment is $811.94. Assume she only makes the minimum payment. What is the breakdown of the first payment? Interest versus the reduction balance. So basically, we're going to think very much like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like credit cards. We're finding the finance charge. So assuming she only makes the minimum payment, when you make over the minimum payment with a mortgage, it reduces, that goes towards the principal, which is how much you owe, and that makes you pay less interest over time. But for now, we're just going to pretend $140,000, Jessie's only making the minimum payment, and we go with this. So just like we were playing with a credit card, if we want to find how much interest Jessie is paying in that first month, so you think about, we take the interest rate, we divide it by 12 because APR becomes monthly by dividing by 12. And then we're going to multiply by how much is owed. And in this case, it's $140,000. Now, when you get that, when you multiply, round it to the nearest penny, we get $408.33. So this is how much Jessie is going to pay in interest during the first month. So if you think about that, if she makes a payment of $811.94, but $408.33 goes to interest, that means her balance is only being reduced by $403.61. So you can see the difference. So this is the balance reduction. You can see more is going towards interest than is going towards the reduction of balance. And this is actually, this example here is pretty balanced. Usually that first month is way more off balance. And the reason this one is closer, one, we have a small interest rate, which is always good, and we have a 20-year loan. When you have a shorter mortgage, you are going to have a more equal at the beginning, right? This is closer to being equal. However, let's pretend. Actually, I want to go back to this example for a minute. And what this means. This reduction in balance means that if Jessie owed $140,000 and the reduction in balance was only $403.61, then after 1 month, Jessie still owed $139,596.39. You can see that it's not going, you're making this big $800-some payment and your balance is barely moving. That's how it is at the beginning of a mortgage. Now, let's pretend that Jessie prefers a 30-year mortgage. Generally, with different mortgage terms, the length of a mortgage, the interest rate changes. So we're going to go up to a 4% interest rate. It makes her monthly payment less, right? When you lengthen the mortgage, your monthly payment is going to go down. But what is the breakdown of that first payment? So we do the same thing. We say, okay, let's take our interest rate, we divide it by 12, and let's multiply by the $140,000 that Jessie owes on this house. Now, that makes my interest for month one $466.67 rounded to the nearest penny. Now, again, thinking through this, Jessie's monthly payment is only $668.38, and $466.67 of that is interest. That means now this is the balance reduction. So now you can see how it's way more lopsided. The interest rate is still not super high, but that 30-year mortgage, when we take it and we lengthen it out, you're going to pay way more interest on a 30-year mortgage, and it stretches it out. So again, thinking through, if Jessie borrowed $140,000 and after month one, it only reduced by $201, Jesse is still owing darn close to 100. I mean, it's still well over $139,000, right? We're only dropping it down by $200 a month. And so every month you're just paying these outrageous interest rates, which is why if you can afford a shorter term, that's preferable. You're going to pay less interest, or you're really hoping for a lower interest rate. All of those things will help you pay less interest.